Hello, this is Malorian, and this is the Orc Tactical Team. And what we're going to be talking about today is running in a completely Goblin army. Now, as opposed to last time when we were talking about an all-night Goblin army, this time we're going to be talking about regular Goblins. And first of all, as a disclaimer, yes, I am sick. I sound a little bit weird. So, even though you'd think that, okay, well, this is the same thing, right? It's just Goblins. But in fact, the way that they work and the options that they have, you cannot run the same style of army. So let's first look at what a Goblin army would be, a true Goblin army. Well, what that would be is, of course, the Goblin War Boss, you got the Goblin Big Boss, Common Goblins, you got Wolf Riders, you got your Wolf Chariot, and then you got all of your different war machines. You got your Cheka, the Doom Diver, and the Stone Thrower. So with these, it actually works out to be a lot different than the Night Goblin version. I mean, you have no real heavy hitters in there you can fall back to. There's no, squeak herds in there that are going to be doing the real damage. And if you look at how we did our Night Goblin army, it basically was an offensive horde. These big lines of spearmen full of these characters that are going to get into you and just grind you down and smash you. Now, the problem of going from them over to the regular goblins is, first of all, is the lack of nets. Now, if you don't have nets, that really means so that it's a lot easier for your opponent to hit you. So you can't really be falling back too much on defense. Let's look at your big bosses, right? If you want to throw in a Night Goblin big boss with a great weapon, that's 34 points. If you want to do it with a regular goblin, first of all, you're paying more points, and then it's going to have effectively a lower toughness because you don't have the synergy of the net. So you're not going to be having it full of these combat characters. Now, one thing that's really nice about running a Goblin army rather than a Night Goblin army is the fact that you have better leadership. So your Goblin War Boss will have leadership 8, so with leadership banner, you're going up to leadership 9, which is fairly solid. So how are we actually going to be running this army? And in my mind, the way it's going to be now is, instead of the offensive horde of the Night Goblins, you're going to be running a defensive horde with a whole bunch of shooty elements. So really, you're going to be taking advantage of all these war machines, all these Doom Divers, all these rock lavas, and just smashing your opponent from far away. And one of the things that really helps you is that you have these Wolf Riders. Very cheap, 12 points each. You can just throw them out there to kind of bait, slow things down, or if you need, just as a speed bump, right? Don't even flee with them. Just, alright, you hit me, you overrun a tiny bit, and now I'm blasting you again. Now, when it comes to your actual units, what you're probably going to be wanting to do is go actually with the build of short bow and shield. And my reasoning for this is that you are not going to be killing anything in combat. Once they get to you, the whole point of your existence is going to be not to die. So you might as well throw some shields in there for some defense. They already come with light armor, so you're going to have a 5+ armor than your parry, which is pretty solid. And then the other thing is that you want to be destroying as many points as you can before they get into combat. So any sort of support units or anything, you want to be concentrating on them. And even though it's just short bows, maybe you can be killing off some fast cav units, some chariots, whatever it is, just to make sure that you're ahead of the game by the time they get to you. And that's going to be the real trick here. We're not talking about Empire that's blasting you with mortars to weaken you, and then their troops are going to finish you off. If there's a big horde coming towards your Night Goblin army, you're going to ignore it, because you can't get any points from it. You're going to be aiming your war machines and your short bows at something else. Now, the other thing that's nice to have in your units is the Skulkers. So these great little 10-point assassins, and the nice thing about them is the whole psychological aspect of them, where your opponent knows that, okay, if I actually charge them, these little ninjas are going to be coming after me. And what this allows you to do is have a better chance as well of trying to kill their characters when they're actually in combat. So, okay, you've engaged me with this large horde. I know I'm going to be losing every single combat, but at least I have a good chance now of killing your characters with Killing Blow before that happens, and scoring a few more points. So, really, when we're looking at this, we're going to have massive hordes of short bows. Units of 100 might be okay. I'm still a little bit torn on them. Whether obviously you want them as deep as possible, so whether that's 10 or 15, whatever it fits in your deployment zone. But as far as how wide it's going, I think as well that you want to be going with the 10. And the reasoning being for this, just the fact that, okay, you might get a few more little shots in combat or hits in combat, and the fact that you want to be doing point denial as much as possible, so that when they come and smash into you, you just want to make it so that from that point on, you are trying to not be destroyed by the end of the game. And so the bigger you are, the better chance you have. And so the whole time, just be shooting, shooting, shooting. Between your units, you might have your spear chuckers, since they need direct line of sight. Behind your lines, you're going to have your doom divers and your rock lobbers that don't need line of sight. And then, of course, you're going to be having your bunker at the very back that's going to have your general with the pretty much nothing, actually. I wouldn't give him a damn thing. If anything, I might give him the magical wizarding hat just to maybe get some nice supportive spells. That'd be it. Otherwise, you have your BSB, who's just going to have the leadership banner. And then for magic for goblins, I would just take a regular level 4. We had talked about with the night goblins that several level 1s can be handy up front, but the difference here is that you don't get the magical mushroom extra dice that the night goblins do. Plus, you're trying to conserve points once you're getting to combat. If you have all these little mages, they have ways to be getting all their points back right away. So you want to be preserving. So all you'd be having is that level 4 at the very back. And he's actually mainly going to be defensive. You're not really you might be trying to get off some poison for your units or something, but otherwise, he's just going to be back with a spell scroll trying to shut things down. So the only unit we haven't talked about is the chariots. And those can be okay. I'd use those as your flank deniers, because or protectors rather, because then if anything tries to sweep down, try and get around to your war machines, you can just outcharge them and destroy them. The other nice thing you can do is that if you're hit by a unit that looks like it's feasible to beat, you already have all the ranks to take out Steadfast, so if you can slam in the flank with those chariots, you can actually really have a good chance of beating them. But of course, this will be situational, and you have to be doing it on a case-by-case basis, and if nothing else, remember that your chariots have their short bows as well, so they can be picking things off and just trying to get those little points wherever you can. And really, when it comes down to it, that's your Goblin army for being competitive. When you look at usually the people that ran the Night Goblin army, that was all the people that saw like, hey, I can get these cheap from the starter set, let's go for that. Usually when you see people playing a Goblin army, they're guys that have been playing for like years and years. They've been playing for, 2nd edition or from the very 1st edition Rogue Trader. They have all these old Goblin models. And so usually they're just playing for fun. They just want to show off your models. But if you're trying to play it in a competitive mindset, trying to win tournaments, like I was saying, keep your characters down to the cheapest version, back in a bunker. Your units are going to be short bow and shield. Don't waste any points on trying to beef them up with characters or anything. Just skulkers, a banner, maybe a musician, done. And past that, you just get all your war machines. The ratio of those war machines will really depend on the meta of your area. I would think that Spear Chuckos would make up a pretty small part of it, but hey, if you play lots of Ogre Kingdoms or monsters, they could see their way in. And then on the flanks, you always have those nice chariots that are a nice way of just smashing what's there and could give you the possibility to actually win some combats. So there you have it, the Goblin Army. Go have some fun. Bye.